All right, good day, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about a closed door today. As human beings, we are wired in such a way that once we have a disappointment, we want to buy ourselves. If anything happens that didn't go the way we have planned it in our own human initiative, we blame ourselves, we get down and try to remain down. From there, we can get frustrated, and everything around us, we just turn the other way around. But you have forgotten that your ways are quite different from God's ways. What God plans for you is not what you plan for yourself. You may be asking for A and God is planning for D for you. And that is why we must have to understand that not every closed door is a disappointment. Some closed doors are blessings in disguise. Some closed doors at times are God's protection. Sometimes a closed door is God's preparation for a greater responsibility. At times, a disappointment is God's redirection. We need to understand all this. Most of the times, we draw our plans, we have our expectations, we try as much as possible as we have set our roadmaps and we want it to align the way we have planned it. That is not God's way for us. And that doesn't mean that God doesn't want the best for us, because he says that the thought he has for us is thought of good and not of evil, to give us expected end. Therefore, we must have to align ourselves with the divine direction that comes from above. What looks like a setback today may be setting up for something greater tomorrow. Most of the time, that failed relationship might be a savior of your life. You may not know. Forget about the beauty. Forget about the handsomeness. That failed relationship might save your life for eternity, and you may not know. At times, you may apply for 3 different jobs at the same time, and God says, no, you are not getting these jobs. You may think, this is 7 years, this is 5 years, this is 10 years that I left school, and no job yet. And you are so much worried. If you follow God's divine direction, you may get the next moment a call to have a particular contract, and that contract in less than 6 months might give you what that job may not give you in 5 years. Some people may doubt this, but I know that there are so many people who have this true story of their life that we must be in agreement. And one thing with life is this: if you were busy doing this job that will pay you a peanut, you will not have time for this contract. In fact, you wouldn't have been recommended, because they will say he is busy. He is too busy. Let me put it that way. I'm not supporting that someone should fold his hands, and while you are still waiting for that big deal, while you're still waiting for that divine connection, while you're still waiting for that divine redirection, try as much as possible to get your hands on something doing. Do not stay idle at any point in time. Don't judge your story by one chapter. God has and sees the whole book. Most of the times we pick a little thing that has happened in our life. We call it a setback. We call it a disappointment. But God sees the entire book. He knows the story of your life from the time you were in your mother's womb to even when you are going to die. And that is why he said, I know you even before you were conceived in your mother's womb. And this was directed to Jeremiah. Okay? So you place yourself in that order. You place yourself in his shoes. You try as much as possible to wait for what is going to be that divine outcome. Trust him always. Trust his timing. Trust the process. What seems to be a falling apart may actually be falling into place. I know that so many people will not really understand this, but try, calm down, reason very well, ask God, which way do you want me to go? One of the most critical things in our lives to do is to take decision. Decision making is the most difficult thing for anybody to take. Most of the times when you take the wrong decision, you find yourself in a dungeon. But when you take the right decision, you may think maybe, oh, it is because of my own wisdom and all that. It's not true. There are so many people who are more wiser than you, that have taken the wrong decision, even on the same matter. And that is why it is important, when you want to take any decision, ask God, what is in your mind. How do you want me to do this? Especially decisions of career choice, decisions of who to marry, decisions of which way to go, decision of how to proceed in life. Certain stages of life, you need to consult widely, prayerfully, and trusting Him. You take those decisions. I want to believe that everything will fall in place. Stop struggling with yourself. Hand every other thing to God's hand, and He will direct your path. Thank you, and God bless you.